Hey, Mike, what are you doing?
Well, I'm just waiting for the oven to finish.
The oven?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the convection to finish.
For the second time, Mike, it was a convention today, not a convection.
I know I was just there, but I'm baking biscuits.
Oh, biscuits?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tyson.
And I'm Mike. And we argue with dragons.
Welcome back, listeners. My name is Tyson.
And I'm Mike.
We are arguing with dragons, and we just spent the second glorious day at the Midwest Gamefest.
Are we? And did we?
We did, and we are, folks. This was just wow. I mean, I have never had such a good, wholesome group of people. I mean, today we talked to war gamers, role players, game designers. I mean, the works, ladies and gentlemen. Some of the best interviews I think we've had yet.
Yes, indeed, sir. Some of the most passionate folks that I've ever met in my life.
Right. What did you enjoy the most about today, Mike?
Well, much the same as yesterday. I just really enjoyed seeing what everybody loved quite so much about table gaming.
Yeah. I got to actually sit in a panel where 5 what I would call subject matter experts on role-playing tabletop games talked about player control and table management. And wow, I mean, 20 years of dungeon mastering, and some of my feelings are very validated right now.
Kind of makes me wonder what I've been doing wrong all these years, too.
I don't think you've been doing anything wrong, Mike. I think you're an excellent dungeon master. You just have to believe in yourself.
How nice of you to say.
Well, I'll hit you with the constructive criticism where I feel like your ego can take it.
I prefer you didn't hit me at all.
All right, folks. We are going to go ahead and cut over to some of our interviews today. This was, like I said, just wow. Some folks, we even interviewed a PhD physicist today.
Yes, we did. And that was quite an interesting discussion.
Oh, it was. And you're going to hear it, folks. So we're going to go ahead and cut over, and we'll catch you when we're done.
We are here today with Matt Carson. Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, my name is Matt Carson with Sector M Studios. I am a game designer and fantasy and sci-fi author. I am also at times a museum writer.
Museum writer, huh?
Yes.
So, Mike, trivia question. What does a museum writer do? I guess
They write
correct.
museums.
Tell us what that is. So
I write exhibits specifically for the Perot Museum of Nature and Science in downtown Dallas, Texas. So anything from the temporary exhibits, the permanent ones. They have a dinosaur exhibit I've worked on, an engineering one. I do a lot of work with their gym and mineral hall, which is fantastic. Then recently in March, there was a soccer exhibit that opened that talks about the science and careers behind soccer. And I wrote that from stem to stern.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's just to capture a little of that World Cup energy that's coming to Dallas here this summer.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. That's going to be a good time. So before we get to the books, you said you were a game designer. Talk about your games real quick. Tell us what you designed.
Okay, so the main book that I have here at this convention is The Artificer's Guide to Magic Items. It is a complete and expanded crafting system for D&D 5.0. It does work with 5.5, and it's for any class. Don't let the name fool you, but it puts the artificer in the driver's seat, because a lot of the other crafting systems didn't give artificers any sort of bonus over any other class. It feels like they should be the Bugatti.
Yeah.
They should be the race car.
They're the class designed to make magical
It's right
items.
in the name, the artificer artifices, right? It's one of those.
And I'm glad you say it puts them in the driver's seat, because the artificer is the only class that would reasonably be able to actually drive a car.
That is true.
That's
and
true.
In at least 5.0, they got proficiency with firearms just as part of their class, which is interesting. So
yeah, the last artificer I played with pulled a gun on just about everybody he encountered. It was
as
great.
it should be.
Didn't he also do something with tentacles?
Oh,
That might be for a different podcast.
that might be.
Well,
All right.
But yeah.
So that's fantastic. So what is it about the Artificer that speaks to you enough to write a whole book about it?
Well, part of it is I was playing one in a Forgotten Realms campaign, and I asked my DM, what is it that I can actually do? Like, what can I build outside of my class? And we started looking at the crafting systems that existed, and we were very underwhelmed by them, particularly the one in the 2014 DMG, where you could spend 4 years crafting a potion that only lasts for an hour, or you might spend 43 years crafting a legendary item that mimics a second level spell for 2 hours a day. And I'm like, yeah, that, and then spend also 500,000 gold on it
That
too.
seems a little underwhelming,
That
doesn't
seems
it?
a little much. So Xanathar's Guide to Everything came out, and they had a crafting system in that we thought was better, but it wasn't quite there yet. And so we expanded it out. We like fully embraced the artificer class abilities that goes into it, and really with it you can craft anything from a mundane item all the way up to an artifact with it. There's also exclusive spells for the artificer, which they never got before. Some magic items to help kind of balance out the class, especially the alchemist, which needed a little love, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But other ones needed a little love too, so that's where that comes from. And yeah, we created it for our campaigns. I used it in one I DM'd, and I used it in the Forgotten Realms campaign where I was playing this artificer. And once we got it kind of where we liked it, it was like, I think people might actually want to see this, because it felt like the meta of the game was lacking in that sense. So
Now,
yeah.
I may be wrong, but did Eberron start the Artificer movement?
They did, at least in the modern idea of it. But since I have been playing RPGs, and not just in D&D, there's always been an alchemist of some sort that's behind the counter, right, where you're buying magic items, often with powers and abilities that regular players don't have, right? That's been in many different types of games that I've played. Well, the Artificer now allows you to be the one behind the counter. It kind of flips that, which I really love that.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
That's
Eberron
awesome.
definitely made it a part of it. The Artificer's Guide to Magic Items is setting agnostic in the sense that you can play it in anything. This could be Tinker Gnomes in Dragonlance. This could be in, something in a Dwarven Smith in the Realms. If you were doing a historical campaign, this could be an Archimedes or a Leonardo da Vinci, type thing. And so I really tried to lean into a lot of that.
I do like the sound of that. That actually sounds really interesting.
That is.
But it gives us a like that role had always existed, but now we actually have like a class to go with it.
Yeah.
And the other reason, to your point, of why I was so fascinated by it is just because it didn't get a whole lot of support. We got it in Tasha's, and then we didn't really get anything else until Forge of the Artificer, which just came out, last December. And so it just felt like they had created the class, but then not supported it. And so I felt like, okay, well then I'm going to help support it because I like the idea. So.
That's something Wizards, I think, is guilty of all the time. They get a really cool idea and they throw it out there and they get everybody excited, and then they just stare at it.
Yeah.
And they wait for us to pick up the slack.
Yeah. So I took it upon myself to try and help with the Artificer, and that's how we got to this point.
Right? Awesome.
Yeah.
So Matt takes a lot of things upon himself, including writing. And I've had, he's been sitting at the table next to our booth here at the convention for a while, and I've picked his brain quite a bit about his writing style and what he writes. So tell us about your books.
So I was hoping to have them here for this convention, but that unfortunately didn't happen. But I have a new military science fiction series called the Nightwolf series, or the Nightwolf Saga. The first book of that is called Axis Point. That's AXIS, not Axis Denied. A little easier to read in text. And It is a series I've been working on for quite some time. It just wasn't quite ready until recently. And it is what I hope to be a long-running series. It's kind of like some of my biggest influences for it are Star Trek The Next Generation, with quite a bit of the new Battlestar Galactica, but also, add a little dash of Halo in there because we have Marines in power armor.
Oh, of course.
And
power armor.
Yeah. Who doesn't love power armor, right?
No, right? I mean, if
I play an armorer as my artificer just so I could basically be a medieval Iron Man. So
That's pretty great, actually. You gotta wonder when power armor is going to be a real thing.
I don't know.
I think that's going to be a reoccurring villain now in my campaign is going to be an artificer who went drunk on power armor.
That's right.
Drunk on power armor.
Drunk on power armor. I love it.
Tell us a little bit about your main character of your book.
So what I did differently with this series is the main character is not human. He is an alien that is somewhat close to human. Emotionally, he is accessible to the reader, but is different enough to give us a different perspective and kind of a balcony seat to look into humanity. He is a wolf-like alien named Kervis Darval, and his primary sense, and this is always a challenge when writing it, is his primary sense is not sight. When he walks into a room, it's scent. But he can tell a lot about a person from the scent, a lot about the area, who's been there, what's been going on there. And so that's almost like his sensory superpower that he has for that. He starts off as an engineer, and gets tapped to go on a secret mission. So this would be like if Scotty joined SEAL Team 6. Not to say that he wouldn't be able to be okay, but that's not really his bag normally. And so through the course of that, we find that he has the instincts for that kind of work. And so as the series unfolds, he will be doing more of that.
Lots of development. That's good. That's cool. And the idea of writing from a different sense and writing from an outside perspective on humanity, that's always a challenge.
Well, because there's definitely sci-fi that has political messages with societal messages, but I love anthropological messages. I love to kind of hold up a mirror to humanity itself, and with somebody who's one step removed from that, you can do that as an outside observer.
Yep.
Awesome. So that's been really great.
Awesome. So
it was literally like
most of the time I read on Reddit when people are looking for books and good book reviews, they always ask, okay, well, I like this book series. Recommend me a book series. So if you were going to say, if somebody enjoys this series, they're going to enjoy your series, what would be the series you'd tell them?
Interesting question. I would say if you enjoyed the first few books of the Honor Harrington series by David Weber, I think you would enjoy this. But in general, I think if you're a Star Trek fan of just about any stripe, I think you will enjoy it. The other one that I think we mentioned the other day when we were talking was a book called In Death Ground, also by David Weber and Mark White, which I think is one of the best military sci-fi books that I've ever read.
Yeah, I have that one
outside of Heinlein.
I have that one saved in my Audible account.
Yeah,
now to
outside of Heinlein,
later.
because he's kind of the goat on a lot of things. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So you said Next Generation. Love Next Generation. Don't Crucify Me, though. Not my favorite Star Trek series.
Okay.
It's number 2.
Okay.
What do you think? Knowing me as long now as you met me, what do you think my personal favorite Star Trek series is?
Personal favorite
don't say.
Star Trek
Don't tell
series besides Next Gen. There's so many now.
Well,
is it
if you cut it off at Enterprise and only looked back?
Okay.
I'll give
From
you that
Enterprise or back.
Yeah, because honestly, the new stuff I have a hard time getting
Deep Space Nine.
Yes, 100%. Now, what about me said that?
Well, so as much as I love Next Gen, it is obviously the episodic kind of storytelling. DS9 was able to do series long and season-long arcs where there's certain things that we see in season 1 that don't pay off until season 3 or later, right? And so from what I know of you, of just the epic storytelling and how things stack on top of one another, let me ask you this, though.
He's good.
Let me turn this back on you for a second.
Go for
Do you
it.
like Babylon 5?
I may if I had watched it. I have not
I think you would like it. If you like DS9, I think you would like Babylon 5.
All right, it's going to go on my watch list.
Yeah.
I have seen some of Babylon 5 myself, and I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But sci-fi is usually not my forte.
That's fair enough.
Although I did have a special place in my heart for Farscape.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Farscape was a good one.
All right, Matt. So if listeners want to find you, tell them where they can go to find everything they need to know about you and what you do and what they can get.
Okay. So my author website is sectorm.com.
Awesome.
And all my links are there, including my email newsletter, which I highly recommend you sign up for, my blog, my Patreon, and basically everything else. It has a rundown of that. So that's kind of the hub for Sector M is the author website.
Cool. All right. We'll add that to our post on social media for you so people can get a direct link. All right. You got any shout outs you want to give here before we wrap up?
Well, I'm kind of a newbie to this con, so I would say I'm trying to remember, it's Forever Marsh Games.
Okay.
That is Greg and his daughter Sarah Sackett have a game they're playing here called Deep Spacin', which is wonderful. I was hoping to set in on it, might still. And they are the ones who invited me to the con.
Cool.
And so it looks really fun. And I think it feels very vibrant. In kind of a Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of way. And so, that's who I would give my shout out to.
That's cool. That vibrant is a good way to say that because it is just it's always what
the
pops
colors
to me.
are like neon.
Colors. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. How far did you travel to get here?
Well, I'm from Dallas, Texas. Originally from Athens, Texas, but I came from Dallas. It's about an 8.5 hour drive here.
Oh man! So he's got us beat by like two and a half times.
You guys are from Iowa, right?
Yeah, about 4.5 hours.
About 4.5 hours. Yeah.
So.
I think it took us about 6 because we had to get Dairy Queen.
Yeah. Oh, we definitely stopped to eat and got caught in the storm.
Okay, so weirdly enough, I have a Dairy Queen question for you guys.
All right.
Okay, so Texas is DQ country, right? They used to have a whole campaign that was about that. But I've heard that the further north you go, they stop selling hamburgers and only do ice cream. Is that the case where you guys are?
It is strictly dependent on the franchisees. So
Really?
Some of the franchise owners kept just the ice cream because in Burlington, both Dairy Queens are owned by the same family. It's a brother and a sister, and one runs the other, and it's just ice cream.
Okay.
And I tell you what, it breaks my heart because Dairy Queen has excellent food.
Yeah.
Now, on the way to Des Moines, my wife and I always stop at Pella because they got a grill and chill right there by the road. And of course, down here in Missouri, where we were headed, grill and chill, baby, all day long. Ice cream, hamburgers, French fries. Everybody loves it. It's good stuff.
Well, the reason I ask you specifically about Dairy Queen is my hometown of Athens, Texas, fairly small little town out in Henderson County. It had 3 of them at one point.
Oh, man.
It had enough love of DQ that it had 3 of them. Now they have kind of moved. There's only one now. I think it's kind of consolidated. But yeah, it was at one point. So that's weirdly enough, my professor in college named the Hunger Buster and Belt Buster when he was working at an ad agency. And I thought that was the coolest thing. And he kind of gave me the side eyes. I'm like, you have no idea how much that was a part of my childhood. And he was just like, yeah, dude, that's cool.
This podcast is not sponsored by Dairy Queen, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it is not.
If they would like to sponsor us, though, I will certainly take all the hamburgers you can bring me.
Please.
All right. This has been an interview with Matt Carson. I appreciate your time, Matt.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right. You take care, Matt.
Thank you so very much.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you passionate.
All right, so we're sitting here with Beth right now from the Midwest Gamefest staff. Beth, tell us about yourself and your role here.
Absolutely. So, me, Beth, is been in the Kansas City area for about 13 years. When I first got here, I was from a small town, 6,000 people. I'd never lived in a city before. And so my husband, trying to get me excited to move to a new place, was saying things like, well, the gaming community there is fantastic. And I loved games. I have a D20 tattoo, as does most of us. And so he got me very pumped for something called the Role Players Guild of Kansas City, which I hope other people have mentioned at this point.
Actually,
A couple of times, yeah.
I've heard it in passing. I don't think anybody's actually talked about it yet on the pod.
Oh, don't worry. I will be. So
right.
I show up to one of the monthly game days that they have to play a variety of games, my husband and I, and fell in love. It was an instant community. At that point, I hadn't found a job yet in the city. I didn't have any friends here, and it allowed me to meet new people, become comfortable in a space that I wasn't familiar with. And eventually, after participating in conventions, monthly game days, I actually joined the board and am now actually the president of the Role Players Guild of Kansas City. So fantastic. I really love it. We do, like I said, monthly game days all over the city. We try to pick different venues, mostly game stores, but we've even been at like a couple of churches. We've been community centers. We used to, many years ago, meet in the business part of a warehouse.
Very nice. Very
Yeah,
nice.
so all over the city, we try to make it, we have like 3 sessions in a day where we run a variety of games, Shadowrun, D&D, board games, things like that. Some Pathfinder, some Starfinder, and it is so fun. One of the games that we've been running pretty regularly for a while was Blade Runner RPG, if you guys have ever played that.
I haven't.
It's really, really fun. And I'm really hoping to see some more of the Cypher system. So if you're familiar with the Old Gods of Appalachia podcast, they have a system that uses the Cypher system and in that setting. And it's really fantastic. Magnus Archives podcast also has a TTRPG that uses the Cypher system.
I've heard a little bit about the Cypher system. I'm like sitting here like, I know that. Where have I heard about that from? I think I picked it up from a couple of guys. I want to say it was on the Dark Times podcast, and they were doing Saga Edition D&D is what they, or Saga Edition Star Wars is what they talked about. And I absolutely loved their podcast. I was a patron for a while, and they definitely inspired me to actually try this. So.
Yeah, it's a great way. Our monthly game days are really a great way to, one, get outreach in the community, but also to try new things. I know a lot of us are, me particularly, I have a tendency to play one game. Now, my game is Pathfinder edition, second edition, right? That's my game. That's what I play with my group. That's what I plan as a GM. Those are the games that I play. Well, if I want to get out of my comfort system, what am I going to do, right? And go to a monthly game day. Other people are running things. You can get tips from GMs. It's a really great community. We also have a Discord, and a lot of people will post like questions about GMing, have discussions on their pets, and it's just a really way to get into the community.
Awesome. So tell me, because I'm curious about what you said there, Pathfinder. Why is Pathfinder your game?
Okay, are you ready to get into it?
You can get crunchy as you want.
Excellent. I love the 3-action economy. I am a huge 3-action economy fan, and they recently came out with Starfinder too. So if you're into space stuff, there's that 3-action economy. I don't want to have to say, okay, you get a move action and an attack action, and with that attack action, you can actually give it up for a move action. I don't want to have to explain that. What the 3-action economy can do is, hey, you have 3 actions, right? Additionally, spells will say sometimes, hey, you've got 2 actions to cast this spell, and some of them are 1 action. So you can actually cast multiple spells in a same turn. Additionally, I like the iconography for it. I think it's really well designed on what they say you can do for certain actions. I think iconography in TTRPGs is a really fascinating concept from a publishing perspective, and I love theirs. Additionally, as somebody who loves GMing but may not have the best writing skills, okay? I'm not disparaging myself, it's just true. They have adventure paths, pre-published adventures that happen in their world, right? I love taking those pre-published adventures, making them my own. I've completed probably 3 or 4 of them at this point, and they allow me to GM not just one games. At one point, I was GMing 4 games on usually a 2-week cadence. Please understand. So, I did eventually get a little burnt out. So now I'm letting some other people take the wheel, but it did allow me to get as much gaming as possible. So, which is pretty convenient.
All right.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you hear the shouting in the background, our resident goblin Snarglefart over there is hunting werewolves at the moment. So he will be joining us on the pod shortly. He assured me that he's going to sit down and talk to me.
I can't wait. That is going to be hilarious.
That will be. That will be.
Let me tell you, Snarglefart gives out a lot of quests. A lot of our resident kids were very family-oriented convention. Love getting quests from Snarglefart. As do some of our adults. Me, I have a tendency to be a quest giver or a quest mission. Like, see, they're hunting.
Found his werewolf, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, they are beating the werewolf with a pool noodle.
That is painted silver. True to fashion. I love it. So
True to fashion.
this is one of the many things going on at Midwest Gamefest, folks. So, Beth, tell us what it is that's special about this event.
Sorry, I'm too loud.
So, for me, it is a lot of our worlds. So, we have our Pathfinder Society room, our Starfinder Society. Those society play groups are really fun. We also have Heroes of Rokugan, which is the Legend of the Five Rings system, who essentially they have like 4 cons a year that they go to. All of their events are in their timeline for those 4 events, and we're one of those, which gets to be so awesome. One of their other ones is Gen Con. So that's like one of the things that makes me feel like, oh, maybe we're not just a small con. But it's really fantastic. But then we also have support for smaller games, right? So we have a lot of the society play. Then we have, one GM who just wants to run Call of Cthulhu, right? And so we put him particularly in a few hotel spaces where he can turn the lights down low, that he can play music that makes it more immersive. We can put him in what we call our lily pad room, which is meant for children's birthday parties and is next to the pool. It's painted green, it's very bright, but when you turn those lights off, right, and you have lower lighting, and it smells like bleach and chemicals because it's right next to the pool, it gets real spooky in there. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, when are the children going to come and attack us? And
sounds atmospheric, that's for sure.
I'm thinking a guy at a hotel desk saying, and in our lily pad room, we have eldritch horror.
Exactly, yeah. So we actually have one of our GMs, Mike Howard, fantastic GM. He requests that room at this point because it's one of his favorite places.
We talked to Mike yesterday. He's wonderful gentleman.
And then we also have quite a few panels. Earlier this morning, we actually invited some local social workers and therapists who talk about therapy and gaming. And tomorrow, our cosplay artists are doing a panel on resin casting for cosplay. And so this wide variety of everything from GM education to arts and crafting, and then even therapeutic gaming and designing games for children. All of these panels are also available.
And anybody who comes into the con has a pass can go sit in a panel, can't they?
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Awesome. The other thing that I really like about us is once you pay your ticket price, you're in here. You have access to everything. You go into the vendor hall. You can check out games from our play to win. You can play in a tournament, anything like that. So we don't try to nickel and dime you on that badge cost.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty great. It's great just how all-inclusive everything around here is. I've seen just so many things that are not only just accessible to literally anybody who wants to learn about it. Everybody here has been just so helpful in explaining what it is they do, what it is they love. I've also seen an awful lot of like inclusivity things, LGBTQIA plus oriented stuff. A lot of creators that have all manner of things, not even necessarily nerd related, but yeah, there's just so much to do here.
I don't have enough time to even talk about all of our vendors, but I do want to shout out some of our artisans, right? So we have people who are not only just crafting like art as stickers and dice, things like that. We have somebody who's selling ceramic mugs this year. We have somebody who's selling wood cutting boards that are
We bought one of those ceramic mugs yesterday.
They are amazing. I bought a magnet that had Triceratops on it. It was my favorite. So, no, I absolutely love all of our vendors. So we try to promote them as well. I want to also shout out that we have a tournament room that does miniatures and painting classes as well.
I saw the painting class in action yesterday, and I saw some little kids, and then I saw adults, and I didn't feel so bad knowing that I'm an adult who doesn't know how to paint a miniature.
No, absolutely. It's really, really fun. If you don't like a formal classroom setting, we even have what's called a paint and take, which is pretty common for many conventions like this, where you can just sit down, put your headphones on, kind of decompress from that D&D game where you had a total party kill, and just paint your miniature. And no one is going to judge you if it's all one color and your eyes are looking in two different directions.
That would be me.
I couldn't even draw the eyeballs. It would just be a little blotch of white. It'd be fine. It'd be fine. All right, Mike, you got any more for her?
Actually, no. I think that you've been very, very open about all of this, and I'm honestly, I love this convention. It's been great so far.
Do you got any shout outs you want to give, Beth?
Oh, I absolutely want to shout out our convention director, Laura. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to talk to her, mostly because she's so extremely busy.
She is.
Well, we met her briefly yesterday.
The chick in the hat.
The chick in the hat, because she usually has a hat on, and it is delightful, always. But I want to shout out our other board members. Brad Kelly is somebody who runs a lot of our Shadowrun games. He does a fantastic job ahead of time. If you'll see our logo this year, that has the swirl of colors that are very similar to the ones that are being used in the World Cup. He is our graphic designer that did that. And then I want to shout out Rob, who is our volunteer coordinator. All of our volunteers, we have close to 40 volunteers this year to help run this event, and they are always wonderful people who really dedicate their time to making sure you all have a wonderful experience.
That's awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Beth, for taking the time to sit with us. She had a limited break, and she decided to spend it with us, so I feel very grateful for that.
Very blessed.
All right.
Very, very blessed.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special interview. We found a real-life goblin running around the Midwest Gamefest, folks.
That we most certainly did. What's your name?
Oh, I'm Snarglefart. Hello.
Oh, Snarglefart. Snarglefart, what brings you to the Midwest Gamefest today?
Oh, Snarglefart's been coming to Midwest Gamefest for years and years and years. He's a regular here now.
What is your function here at the festival, Snarglefart?
Oh, I give out quests. There's always something weird happening at Midwest Gamefest, and it's my job to hire adventurers to suss out the weirdness.
Oh, weirdness. All right. Snarglefart, tell us, what is weird happening now? What have your adventurers been doing?
Oh, it takes them all over the place. First, they gotta help me find my lost chickens, and then pretty soon they're getting magic swords, and then at the end of it all, they gotta figure out who's letting all the dragons into Midwest Gamefest, and then slaying the big bad evil guy.
There has been dragons at
There's
Midwest
dragons here at
Gamefest?
Midwest Gamefest, and they're being very naughty.
Oh my gosh. I saw you killing a werewolf earlier.
Yeah, he's the one who's letting the dragons in.
Oh,
goodness.
The nerve of some people.
Werewolves are prone to do, he keeps respawning. So I need more adventurers all the time for when he respawns, lets back in more dragons, and then we gotta go kill the dragons and the werewolf.
All right. So what are these adventurers winning right now if they slay they kill that werewolf and they find your dragons?
Every time that they complete any one of the quests, they get paid gold. They get to roll dice and see if they win more gold, and sometimes they get special prizes, but mostly they get gold.
Now, Snarglefart, in Goblin World, do they play Dungeons and Dragons or do they play people in office spaces?
Yeah, it's called Lawyers and Losers.
What do you play? Do you play a loser or a lawyer?
Oh, I play a lawyer, specifically a rules lawyer.
I love it. I love
Seems
it.
pretty on brand.
Now, Snarglefart, have you ever read a book called The Monsters Know What They're Doing?
Oh, Snarglefart can't read.
Ah, okay. Well, it's not written in
Snarglefart has heard of it, though.
Yeah, it makes sense because it's not written in Goblin. So this gentleman does such a profound job of writing all of the monster stats from 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons in a form of tactical awareness.
Right, and he talks about where they come from and why they develop different things and stuff like that.
More specifically, he talks about the tactics the monsters would use against players. And you know what the most shocking creature in that book is?
Probably something that does electrical damage.
No, the goblin.
Oh, okay.
The goblin.
We don't do electrical damage.
No, but you, my friend, are one of the most terrifying monsters in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons.
Listen, I don't think goblins should be that terrifying. I think goblins are nice guys. That's part of my job here is to introduce people to the good side of goblins. See, we have a real bad rap.
You do.
I mean,
you do.
If you look at media, who's the nicest goblin that you know of?
The characters from Little Nemo, the good goblins.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that either.
I am so surprised.
Yeah, apparently I need to go watch that now.
I feel like it would have been.
We're well represented in Little Nemo?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I feel like
That's
it would have
great.
been
I was going to say David Bowie.
That's exactly what I was thinking. The
And
goblins that hung out with David Bowie.
You know, he's the king, so I can't say too much bad stuff about him. But, well, I guess the king's dead now.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's
Very
sorry,
true.
spoiler alert.
We're all a little lesser for it.
So
Right.
my eyes have been open, ladies and gentlemen. Goblins are good people, and they deserve so much more credit than we give them. Adventurers,
And
stop.
donuts.
And donut. Yes,
Nobody goblins, donuts.
Nobody
they love
has,
donuts.
has brought Snarglefart a donut today, and I may just have to change that.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Snarglefart, do you have any shout outs you want to give here?
Oh, man. Obviously, the staff here at Midwest Gamefest has been great. Some of the other cons around, so CantCon and Meepleton are all run by great people, and I love working with all of them. So
I'm thrilled. The amount of diversity here has been wonderful, and to know that they even allow goblins in
yeah,
is just.
you know, they were very suspicious of it at first. Again, because everyone has kind of wrong ideas about it. But you know, you show up, you do your thing, and pretty soon they're very accepting people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Snarglefart, for sitting down with us.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you got
Thank
tons
you
of
indeed.
quests to do. Look for Snarglefart's video. And do we have anybody place they can follow you, Snarglefart?
Yeah, you can follow me at, I think it's Mr. Snarglefart on Instagram. I'm not very active, but I'm there.
Oh, yeah. There you go, listeners.
That works.
Follow your local Kansas City Goblins. All right. Thank you, Snarglefart.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
We are here with Colin. Colin, tell us a little bit about yourself and what brings you to the Midwest Game Fest today.
Yeah, so I'm here with Extra Life. It's a charity under Children's Miracle Network. Basically, what we do is it's a big community of gamers. Our main thing that we've been known for is the 24-hour charity live stream that happens in early November every year. We've recently kind of expanded out into doing more tabletop stuff, but all of the money goes to benefit our local Children's Miracle Network hospital.
Oh, that's wonderful. Which hospital is that?
For us, it's King Medical Center.
Awesome. All right, so you guys game on the stream. So tell me what games you guys stream.
A lot of times I'll do something more chill. If I've got multiple people there, I'll end up doing Minecraft. I've done just kind of whatever just is the game that I've been playing a lot recently. Something that I think might be entertaining for people to watch. Something that if I need to keep the energy up, it'll be a high energy game.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever heard of Teardown, it's the voxel based destruction game where you can literally just take various weapons and just blow stuff up.
Break stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That would be good. Add some comedy into it. You know?
Exactly.
Cool. Absolutely.
All right. So how much of do all of the proceeds go straight to the hospital?
Yes,
cool.
all the proceeds. And it's actually different than a lot of charities because it'll stay local to the hospital. It doesn't go into a giant pool that then gets dispersed. If our page that the money gets donated to says a certain hospital, it goes to that hospital.
Oh, that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Where can people learn about this stuff online?
extra-life.org.
Yes. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So how
.org does lead a lot of credence to it.
Yes.
Yeah. It has to be nonprofits have
exactly.
.org.
Yes.
So how have you branched off into the tabletop world?
So we've kind of tried to figure out ways that, because a lot of what the streamers would do is they do like challenges. So every time somebody donates $10, it could throw, like, if they're playing Rust, it could throw a random grenade in there, and then like it messes the player up. And people tried to think of ways to bring that to tabletop gaming. So if you're doing like a D&D campaign, if you roll a nat 1, you can donate $10 to Extra Life and get a reroll. Just various little ways like that, like integrating donations into the tabletop games.
The game.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's pretty great.
I got a good one for you. A gentleman yesterday sat down and explained a game called Dread. Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it.
So, did you hear about how they instead of rolling dice, what they use?
I have not.
They use a Jenga tower. Yeah, that's the same face I made.
What?
Listeners, if you could see his face, it was priceless there. So when they go to make a decision point and the decision requires any sort of challenge, the game master assigns a number of pulls from the Jenga tower they have to pull. And if the tower falls, that character dies in some way. You could easily assign a dollar amount to the Jenga tiles.
Oh, absolutely.
And then however many are left, maybe the table has to pool together and donate. And the game is designed to be a one-shot game, so it's like you're only playing for 3 to 4 hours tops.
Okay.
So there's a gentleman, I'm sure he's here again today. They were playing it in there yesterday. If you find him, pick his brain about that game. It sounds really awesome. It's called Dread. It's an indie horror base, but can work in any setting. I think you guys would love that, and you could totally do that for charity. If you can imagine a camera on a Jenga tower.
Oh yeah.
And the amount of like tension it builds.
Absolutely, yeah. If you go into that vendor room, I'm sure you'll see it.
I'd almost even say, like, if you get told, like, okay, you have to do 8 Jenga pulls. Okay, do you want to reduce that? It's $5 per less that you want to do. So if you want to be like, okay,
there it is.
I don't feel like I could get 8 pulls, but I've got $20 I want to donate to charity. Well, let's bring that down to 4.
Oh, there you go. Let's see if you can be one of the last men standing at the end of the game.
Yes.
All right. Now, not to get too political, but there's one thing I want to mention here because I feel like I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't. I cannot wait for the day where your charity doesn't have to exist.
Oh, 100%.
I feel like we live in the richest country in the world. There's no reason why a kid kids should need charity money to seek medical help.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad you guys feel that same way. But in the meantime, I absolutely love what you're doing. And
Thank you.
You guys keep it up. For sure, keep it up.
And then,
so, go ahead.
He did want, Tyler did want me to mention that Pawn and Pint is local, and every Wednesday night they do trivia, and $1 of every entrance fee goes to Extra Life.
Yeah.
So they call it Extra Life Wednesdays. So
he told me he works there, and he pitched it to the owners. That's great.
Yes,
that's
and the owners were very receptive and were like, absolutely.
Oh, that's cool.
So they're pretty awesome over there.
All right, Colin, do you have any shout outs you want to give?
Besides Pawn and Pint, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Colin. I appreciate it, guys.
Great to have you at the Midwest Gamefest, pushing such a wonderful cause.
Look it up, extra-life.org.
Correct.
And donate if you can, listeners. That's such a good charity. And I know you may not be local to Kansas City, but just remember, you help everybody. We all help each other, and that is a wonderful thing.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you.
All right, we are here with Drew at the Midwest Game Fest.
Hello, Drew.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I am just a local gamer and avid nerd, and I am here with Aperture Narrator, which is an engine that I built to help people get out in the world and experience a kind of role-playing, storytelling mode to location-specific events like Midwest Game Fest.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. So elaborate on that a little bit. Now, you told us before we started just a bit, but I want the listeners to really hear the meat and potatoes of this because this is cool as hell.
Okay, so basically, if you have an institution like a convention, or you've got a park with a hiking trail, or a museum, or really anything like that, you can take location-specific data with facts that you want to convey to your audience, and then we take AI and narrate that story, produce pictures and text-to-speech narration, and tie it together into a story that then we serve to the people via app.
That's awesome.
So it can have GPS data that follows the person. It can even be dynamic, and so as they make choices throughout the quest, it will give them new locations to go to or change the story and adapt to each person.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. See, those are the kind of things I love seeing AI used for, because one thing that it is really good at is taking 3 or 4 pieces of fiction or art or something and tying it together.
Absolutely. Yeah, one of the things I really love about AI is so powerful, but at the same time, I kind of hate it, just like everybody else.
Yep.
I don't want it to replace the creative spirit of what people are trying to do. And I still see it as a powerful tool, but I want it to be a tool that's restrained.
Yeah.
And so that's why with the system, it's really about giving it boundaries and then letting it elaborate within those boundaries.
Yeah.
And so let it fill in the details, let it write, little short paragraphs, but you give it the facts, you let it know what you want to convey.
Yeah.
And
it's a good tool like anything else. It's how it's used.
Absolutely.
I completely agree with you there. I think people get a little too much heat sometimes for using it on certain things.
Sure.
And I look at it like it's a creative partner.
Yes.
Instead of the creative engine, it's a partner. I give it the ideas and I'm like, hey, does this suck? And a lot of times mine's trained to tell me, yeah, that sucks. What are you doing? Let me help you, please.
Yeah, I found, the biggest problem I always see, especially with people who have ever tried to use it for role-playing games and specifically, is you get drift, you get hallucinations, it forgets who they are, it forgets who the people are, it, can't tie a story together. And so really what I've tried to do is build a really strict framework that it then rigidly attaches to at different points in the story, and then can always go back and make sure that it's keeping everything together.
That's awesome. So you designed this.
I did.
So now tell the listeners what you do for a day job.
Yeah, so I'm a data scientist, and I work for a company that analyzes the energy grid, the high voltage power grid, and I build lots of tools and data pipelines, much like this one, just that are much more boring.
All right. Well, he says boring, and I heard PhD in physics, and I'm like, holy crap. So we did a conspiracy short not that long ago.
Okay, sure.
And Mike talked about simulation theory.
Ah, yes, simulation theory. Okay.
I brought up the double slit experiment.
Yes.
Can you explain that to Mike in a way that he will understand?
No.
He doesn't have the time or the crayons.
That was the best place to know I've ever heard.
Do we have hand puppets here somewhere? No.
I love it. No, that's okay.
The double slit experiment is one of those that if Mike does not understand it, he is not alone among the physics community as well as people at large.
And you heard that? I'm part of the physics community.
That's right. That's right. Lots of quantum mechanics things are quite weird, and the way I like to explain them, and this is how I always explained it to my students, etc., was that if you try to imagine it in terms of particles, you're always going to be confused. If you kind of give that up and you say, you know what, maybe the universe isn't made of particles, maybe the universe isn't made of waves, maybe the universe is completely made of something else entirely that we have no reference for in our experiences, and we just shove it into whichever box at whichever time, that kind of explains why you end up with things like the double slit experiment.
That's true. You can't decide if it's a wave or a particle.
That's right.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Tyson, do you have any ice left in your cooler? I need to put some on my head for about 20 minutes.
Right. All right, so you've designed this really cool location-based. We've had at least one person stop at our booth and talk to us about sacred cows.
Okay, sure.
And the story it had for her revolving it puzzled me because I didn't tell anybody about that.
Okay.
And so I'm like, where did she hear that line? And I knew it was from the blurb about our podcast that mentions the word sacred cow. But she was too young to know what sacred cow meant.
Oh, that's
and I had
funny.
to explain it to her. It was wonderful. Yeah. It was a wonderful moment. But we've been trying to sneak this in here so that if somebody comes up, they have to talk to us first.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that's a little different. I know that this con before or other cons will often have like bingo cards. Mm-hmm. And so the people will have to go around and get signatures or a stamp or something like that. But a lot of times that doesn't slow down the process a lot. And so people are going really quickly and just, stamp. And they don't spend as much time. But I feel like if you have questions that are related to the booth, if you have to take a selfie with the people, if you have some other form of interaction, that tends to slow people down and actually get them to interact more. And I know my wife said that unfortunately it worked too well because she ended up buying something yesterday that she wasn't going to otherwise. But as they were doing the quest, my son happened to see a set of dice that he couldn't live without. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, getting people to slow down, especially in the literal den of ADHD.
Right.
That is gaming.
Absolutely.
For a convention entirely revolved around gaming and appreciating games as it is, we certainly get a lot of speedrunners.
Absolutely. But hopefully we also get some completionists who are out there getting every single
somebody will. I promise.
Somebody is already very close to tagging all of the, I think, 77 or 78 QR codes, which are around the con in various places. So
awesome.
It's quite impressive.
That's awesome. You put together a heck of a program here. Where can the listeners find out about this?
Sure. So my website is at www.Aperture Narrator. So APERTURE narrator.com. And that just right now we're still early stages. This is the first live event we've actually done, but it's gone really successfully. And hopefully, maybe we'll be at CantCon or other places coming up.
Cool.
So
You got a business card over there?
I do not. But you're welcome to email me, Drew at ApertureNarrator.com.
Cool. Yes, I'll write that down here. I'll try to tag all of our interviewees today in the episode.
Okay, great.
All right, man.
Great.
Hey, Drew, thank you so much for sitting with us and talking to us. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
We're all about.
All right, we're sitting here with Karl, and Karl is one of the attendees at the Midwest Gamefest. We've been interviewing vendors and officials and game designers, and now we're going to talk to somebody who's just here having a good time.
Yeah.
All right, Karl, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm from the Des Moines area. Got a game group kind of over there and just exploring. I have some friends over here that are kind of doing their own thing, actually. So
Fellow Iowan.
Yeah.
I love it.
We're all from Iowa.
We're from
Really?
Iowa.
Okay.
Southeast
We're
Iowa.
in Southeast, yeah.
Burlington.
area.
Des Moines area. So,
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey.
So, what brought you to the con today other than your friends? Like, what game are you into that you were really excited for?
Oh man, I was actually over at the Blood on the Clock Tower, so I was doing that. That's something that I've been doing over at the Des Moines area. But there's a good game group over here, and I wanted to try that out, and then also get some games over here.
We're super vanilla, so tell us about that game.
Oh, it's like a social deduction. It's almost like a werewolf thing, but like a little bit more in depth. So it's basically like a demon is killing people around the city, and like people need to kind of figure out who the demon is, and then you got to make like somebody has to call out like, oh, this is the demon right here, and if they aren't, then they got to like make a claim to be like, all right, I'm not the demon, don't kill me, kill that guy instead, and stuff like that.
So it's like Among Us in real life.
Yes,
That's
basically.
awesome.
That's actually kind of great. I love it.
That is because it takes something away from it when it's on a computer like that. The one time I played Among Us was in person, and I had my daughter. It was all my kids in one room, and there was like 3 of them and a couple adults that had never played, and me who had never played either. And I think that's the only thing that made it fun, was that we were all there, and they're like, "No, it's Dad. Dad is the imposter." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. What are you kids talking about?"
Did they take you out right away?
I definitely was. Oh yeah, they put me in that airlock so many times, and I wasn't even the imposter, but like once.
Well, you are pretty sus.
Yeah, I can be pretty sus. That's fine. So, been playing games. What'd you pick up today at the vendor?
Pirate Borg. This is a TTRPG, same creators as Morkborg. I've looked at it before, and it looks like incredible, so I got that, and I got like some... Oh, this is a DM screen, and then... No, this is the DM screen, and this is like some tokens for... Yeah, like naval combat token packs.
Okay,
There's like
cool.
a lot of like ship combat in this game, so
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, we talked to the gentleman at the table that was selling the Pirate Board stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So, yeah, we talked to him yesterday. I did a little TikTok video with him and Cage and Jeff, who was with him. There's 3 of them in the line. I'm pretty sure that's who that was.
Cool, all right.
I mean, I could be wrong, but all right, cool. What's the thing you've enjoyed the most about the con today?
Oh man, it probably was the Blood on the Clock Tower. Honestly, that was definitely the most fun. Yeah.
Awesome.
I also did win something from the raffle that they were doing today. Yeah, I got like a Dominion, and it's like the Star Wars not role playing.
He's working a lot
What is
right
it?
now going to school.
Like a card building game, basically.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. So what is, if you could change one thing about the con, what would you change?
We had everything. I mean, they almost the same.
I don't know. Or food vendor?
More
I don't
food.
know.
Hey, you're okay.
There's
More
2
food,
food trucks,
yes.
and they're servicing 2,000 registered attendees. That's kind of stretching the supplies thin.
No, yeah, I totally get it. And like, I imagine, like, I actually just got my food like a few minutes ago. Now I'm kind of imagining, like, well, now if it's going to get to like 5 p.m., there's going to be like a line out there.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
All right, so what is your hot take about gaming? What's something that if you felt like if you posted on Reddit or admitted out loud that you would just get flamed for? Let's hear it. You can be as controversial as you want. It's all good.
As controversial as I want?
Yeah.
Well, shoot.
Just try to keep it kind of PG per the con rules, but
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say something like really dirty. No, I'm just kidding. Shoot, I actually am kind of drawing a blank here.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot or anything, but
No, it's all good.
hurry up.
I was staying out of here.
Oh shoot! Thank you. I was just trying to get so slippery.
Controversial as you want to make it.
Okay. Pathfinder ain't that great.
Oh, hey, that's a hot
that's
take.
a hot take.
Beth,
Absolutely.
the president, was sitting in that very chair, and that's her game of choice, so she might fight you.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh no!
Careful there.
no, I say that as in
He's over here.
I say that as in like I like Pathfinder, and like I do think there is some merit to like the differences between like that and D&D, but like as far as like that kind of game is concerned, I do appreciate that there is like a depth of options that you can go through and stuff like that, but there are like obvious limitations. I do kind of think like there is a little much going on at times, and I do kind of there's like a difference between like a D&D and a Pathfinder where like I know there's like a lot of people that are like D&D is too simple and everything like that. Like, try Pathfinder, but I also think like Pathfinder is like maybe not necessarily like a little step up more than it is just like a massive like you're climbing up.
It's like taking a piece of paper for D&D and just crumpling it up. It's a little crunchy, but you crumple it up. Pathfinder's like taking a roll of Pringles and just until it's like literally nothing but a crunch in your ear. And I get that. I totally get that. I love the 3-action economy system.
I actually like that too.
I think everything should have something like that.
I do think it's a little raw that like movement counts as an action, admittedly, but yeah.
Absolutely.
I could see it.
I do think that actually the one thing I actually don't really like about it is the way like spellcasting works, because I do know there's like if you are going to be taking a like one level in a certain spell, then now you're kind of being like you are basically stuck with that level of the spell, and that's a little annoying. I think as somebody who like I've played like spellcasters before in like other different systems, and that definitely does seem like a limitation of that type of system.
Right.
I think. Yeah.
Here's my hot take on role playing, or especially D&D in particular. D&D has too many options. Every world, if you take a homebrew world and you say, here you go, players, be whatever you want, you might as well have just filled your kitchen sink with dirty dishes.
Honestly, I think my kind of hot take on D&D at the very least is like I don't really like multi-classing, admittedly, just because like multi-classing is like good if you're like I'm bored playing the same fighter over and over again, and he's a fighter barbarian now, and that's cool. But like I think adding a lot of that does like add like too many options to something like that, and
For
now
sure.
you are. It definitely adds like a little bit of complexity to it, and I do think there's like a give and take on like if you're like taking one level in whatever this is, then you're kind of locking yourself out. But like there's also like people have like worked their way around it. It's just like, well, if I take one level in this, then this automatically makes this class like way better. If I take like one level in Warlock, now the Paladin is better.
Dips.
Always taking 2 levels in Fighter to get that action surge.
So I see
if there's a cheat code, that's it.
I see Moss Eisley in your shirt. So you're a Star Wars fan?
Yep, absolutely.
Right. So if you want to get over your multi-classing dislike, have you ever played Star Wars Saga Edition?
Oh, here we go.
No. What's that?
Okay. So currently, the current roleplay option for Star Wars is the Fantasy Flights game with the narrative dice and all that. So go back in time about 15 years or so. The guys who created 3.5 and 4 freelanced and worked for Wizards to build Saga Edition, which was a D20 modern Star Wars. Had about 16 books that eventually dropped. But the concept of the game was multi-classing because it was such an easy thing and almost necessary to do that it made multi-classing feel organic, natural, and normal again. Because in D&D, you're right. So a lot of multi-classing doesn't make any sense. Why would a paladin be a warlock?
Right, yeah.
Unless it's narrative in your story, it just shouldn't happen. But stuff like that, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely think that's kind of the thing with like D&D, especially with like the newer editions of D&D, where it's like just choose whatever, and sometimes it doesn't really make narrative sense if I'm like a sorcerer, and now I'm like taking a level in like wizard or like druid or something like that. And that doesn't make any sense, you know. I'm doing it for the wild shapes or something like that. This is a bad example. I know that's like not necessarily
no, it's absolutely accurate though to how a power gamer plays.
Yes,
because they will pick a off the wall, crazy, doesn't make any sense narrative or story, just so that they can get that Elder Blast or they can get that wild shape because they want to use it to abuse it later, more than likely. So,
yeah, and I do like having like a little narrative thing to kind of be like, well, there's a reason I'm taking like this level in this class and this level in another class.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish all players were like you. Karl, do you have any shout outs you want to give before we wrap this up?
Shout out to Snarglefart over there. I actually know he's part of one of my gaming groups actually. So
is he?
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
Well, you're both from the same area, so it makes sense.
I screenshotted his invite or his follow to me on Instagram, and I'd said goblins make excellent underworld contacts.
Yes, actually, yes.
So I think he's been my favorite part of the convention today. I absolutely love him to pieces.
He's wonderful.
So awesome. Well, Karl, thank you so much for sitting down with us. I appreciate it. Mike, you got anything?
No, actually, you are a good model citizen as far as gaming is concerned. I like your takes.
Me and my somewhat lukewarm takes. You know.
Well, I wouldn't call it lukewarm necessarily. I mean, the way he said there is an abundance in D&D, and with your points that you made with your Pathfinder, yeah, absolutely, I agree with it. But that doesn't mean it's not a hot take.
All right.
Thanks, Karl.
That sounds good. Thank you.
All right, we are here at Midwest Gamefest with Will. Will, tell us about yourself.
My name's Will Schoonover, and I have worked in the tabletop hobby industry for 20 years now.
All right.
As of, I think next month, it will be 20 years to the day where I got my first job at Steve Jackson Games.
Awesome. Well, happy
as an art director
anniversary.
Yeah. And I currently work at Steve Jackson Games again, but I spent almost a decade in Seattle at Privateer Press, the makers of War Machine, which there's a War Machine tournament going on in there.
Okay.
War Machine's getting a resurgence right now. It kind of had a rough decade between some things that the last company, the founding company that owned it, tried to do with it, and some other stuff, and the community kind of moving away because of other things. But now someone new owns it, and they're doing new and interesting things and bringing a bunch of players back. Cool. So there's 22 people in there playing, and I haven't heard of a War Machine tournament like locally that was that many people for a little while.
Now, is that a wargaming game?
It's a miniatures game. Yeah, awesome. You collect a whole bunch of little tiny people and you paint them, and then you move them around and roll dice and see who smashes each other.
I love wargaming, and I'll tell you my hot take. I told a couple of the other wargamers. I love the idea of the wargaming, but I think it has a huge barrier to admission, because the minis have to be built and the minis have to be painted, and there's lots of pressure that you do a good job on both of those things.
Well, philosophically, miniatures gaming is my primary hobby. I've been doing it since 92 or something like that. We discovered 40K when we were in high school and have been playing miniatures games since then. And you need to get out of your own way. A lot of people think I'll never be able to paint that well, so I shouldn't start. But starting is how you get better at things. And personally, building the models is my favorite part. Like, I own so many models that I have not put paint on, but I bought them and I was excited to build them because I like the building process. And then they sit around. Sometimes I put them back in the box and then wait for later to get around to painting them, because I don't enjoy the painting part as much as I enjoy playing and building models. So
it's funny. I enjoy the painting part despite not being good at it. It's the putting them together part that I'm not an instruction guy. That's part of my problem. So.
I have assembled friends' models for them.
Oh yeah,
because they've been like, I don't want to do this. I'm like, give it to me. I'll put it together. You don't have to pay me any money. I'll give it back to you, and then we'll play games with it. And
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I wish there were more war gamers back in Iowa where we're from, because it seems like it's a desert for that kind of stuff.
It's hit or miss, and it depends on what game you want to play. right? Because Games Workshop is the giant in the industry. Like, if you go into almost any game store in America that has any miniatures presence, Warhammer 40K is going to be on the shelves. If you want to play something weirder, like I have a friend in California who makes a game. He does the art, the sculpting, and all the rules writing. He gets help with the painting and some of the editing, and the manufacturing is done externally. But he does everything else himself. It's called Relic Blade. The name of the company, to give him a tiny plug, is Metal King Studios. And I know a handful of people who play that game that I've met at conventions, like Adepticon, the big miniatures convention that happens every year. But I only know one or two people locally that have really heard of the game. Now, he's not in regular distribution, but we have a game store in Kansas City that does carry it, because he will set up an account and give product to. But he's only in a couple of game stores in all of America. But we have one locally, so a few more people have heard of it than somewhere like Des Moines or a random place like that.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, we're located out of southeast Iowa.
Yeah.
So we're 3 hours away from Des Moines. Des Moines Des Moines and Iowa City are like your Mecca in Iowa. Fun. you know. No, that's cool. So what other projects have you been part of at the studio?
So if anybody's familiar with the card game Munchkin, that's one of Steve Jackson Games' primary products. I'm technically the Munchkin line editor right now, which is part project management and part also writing stuff. Like, I wrote the most recent Warhammer 40K expansion for the game, which is mostly just silly jokes and references to Warhammer. Writing Munchkin cards is not as heavy of a lift as it would be to write like a whole RPG book or something like that, because you're trying to come up with silly things that kind of fit into the rule set of Munchkin already. You're just kind of filling in holes with silly jokes and strange references and that kind of stuff. And at Privateer Press, for that decade I was up there, I made basically every big board game they made, which in my personal opinion was a mistake. They should never have tried to branch out into board gaming. They were a miniatures company. They had a miniatures fan base. The board games, we had some okay success, but never anything like, oh wow, it's shaking up the entire industry and everyone's talking about it. Yeah. But so I have been in charge of designing a handful of very large, elaborate board games, and then some miniatures games, and then some other stuff. I just had a little design a friend and I made 15 years ago, a little dice game deduction thing, just released, I think, last 2 weeks ago or something like that, called Brigand's Bluff. Oh, cool. So I do a little bit of everything, but I don't generally publish games that are my complete idea very often. Usually I'm helping other people. I'm one, like another game I was involved in, 3 people technically designed that game because it was like a group project where we were just throwing ideas around, which is how I like to work anyway. Yeah. But yeah, my name is not like super well known. I like to joke that I'm like an L-list celebrity in the industry because there are people like a person in the War Machine tournament recognized me. I was walking around in there and someone like calls out my name and talks because he played back when I worked at the company, and I'm on hours and hours and hours of YouTube videos that only a few hundred people have watched. So yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. All right, so we haven't got to talk to a whole lot of wargaming people, so that's cool. I'm glad you came. Tell our listeners what wargaming game is out there right now that has the lowest bar to enter and is the cheapest to get into if you wanted to start wargaming.
So cheap is one of the problems. Because let's say you and your friends want to play a board game, right? Mm-hmm. You find a $50 board game. One of you buys it. Maybe you pool your resources. Maybe you're going to play it with the same group of 4 people, so you all throw in some money. If you want to do that for a miniatures game and you want to go as cheap as possible, you need to find a small one. So a skirmish game. There's a few out there that are popular. There's a few out there that are less popular. I think the Halo miniatures game right now is it's got a little bit of popularity, and it's a very small purchase. It's a lot like a board game the way they sell it. Yeah. And you only need about 4 models. So if you're not a prolific painter, if you can't paint an army of hundreds of models in a reasonable amount of time, you can probably paint 4 Spartan guys in their very basic armor with lots of texture, and lots of texture helps you paint models easier. It's a lot easier to paint something that's bumpy and craggly than it's something completely smooth like a big tank. So the Halo game is probably, and it also, if you buy the starter box, it comes with 2 forces and all the scenery, because you play it on a very, very small table. Because that's the other cost of it, right? If you're going to play Warhammer 40K or Age of Sigmar or one of the other big army games, you need a 6x4 table to play that on, and all the scenery that goes on a 6x4 table, and then you need 2 armies that could be anywhere between 40 and 80 models a piece, depending on the way the army's built, whether it's elite guys or hordes of little gribbly monsters or whatever. Everybody right now is really excited about the StarCraft miniatures game that just launched at Adepticon, so that's a big deal, and it's getting. I saw so many people at Adepticon with stacks and stacks and stacks of it, like people who had bought every single thing, or people who are focusing on Protoss or focusing on Zerg or whatever. So that's a big deal.
That's one I dear to my heart, because in '97 I was addicted to the demo of StarCraft.
Yeah. But that's also one of those great gateway things that if you love the idea of miniatures gaming, but you can't get your friends to play with you because they can't understand like wizards and dragons or whatever. A lot of people have passed through the StarCraft ecosystem in some capacity.
Yeah.
So showing people, oh, this is Kerrigan and a bunch of Zerglings and some Hydralisks and whatever, you've already kind of got the language down to convince them, like, they can do this.
Yep.
That's the biggest hurdle to miniatures gaming, is usually convincing someone it's not as big a deal as they think it is.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can handhold someone to play D&D pretty easy, right? Like, we have a group of 5 people, just jump in, we'll tell you what to do, you explain what you want to do, and we'll tell you how that works in the rules. But with especially head-to-head wargaming, like, it's very intimidating to play against someone who's experienced, because unless they're the right kind of person, they won't like hold your hand enough, and you'll just get beat really bad and have a horrible experience.
Yeah.
But if you play with the right people, usually your friends, and they have the right attitude, and it's something you understand, like, oh, I played tons of StarCraft, I understand like how StarCraft works. And from what I've seen, I haven't played the game yet, but from what I've seen of online videos and things like that, they're trying to make it feel like the video game, right? You purchase models instead of setting up your entire army in the first round. You kind of buy models onto the table like you're building them. A lot of your upgrade cards are buildings, like it'll be the spawning pool or the whatever. So they're trying to translate it as much as possible to just be, you're familiar, here's a game that feels kind of like you should expect it to feel. And that's a good way to get over that hurdle if you have friends who don't know what they're doing.
How long do you think it'll be before they do this with Warcraft?
Warcraft is more generic, kind of, and it's been tried before. There was a Warcraft pre-painted, collectible mystery box, like plastic, small scale game, like 4 or 5 models per side, that launched, I don't know, 2007 or 2008, and your face right now looks like you've never heard of this thing.
No, never.
Because it lasted, I think, 2 Gen Cons. I like to gauge time in the industry by Gen Cons. If a booth has a big giant Gen Con presence with demos and all that kind of stuff, they're spending a lot of money, they're trying really hard. What do they look like next Gen Con? Are they there? Because that happens. Like, someone launches a big collectible card game, they're not at the next Gen Con. So, like, that's how long they lasted. Less than 1 year.
Oh, it's sad, too.
Yeah. So I believe that the Warcraft collectible miniatures game, or whatever they called it, lasted 2 Gen Cons, maybe 3. They had a big push that first year. And then I think they might have existed the second year. And then it was kind of gone by a third Gen Con.
Gotcha.
But they were trying a lot of experimental weird things, which, in my personal opinion, is a problem. If you have a money-making IP, make the game as basic as possible, right? Don't put weird hoops to jump through.
Yeah.
Because that game had so many strange mechanics. And the StarCraft game looks to be leaning into the kind of 40K expectations already. So they're trying to like bridge that gap of you want to play with StarCraft, but you don't want to play, 40K. Here's another game that you can try that will kind of feel familiar to those players. And it will have StarCraft for all the people who are coming in like brand new because they're attracted by StarCraft.
Cool. Now, this is a personal question to me. Where on that scale of cost to easiness to learn would Star Wars Legion fall in?
Star Wars Legion is a bigger game. You need dozens of models, right? Because I think Stormtrooper squads are 10 models and usually have 3 or 4 squads.
Something like that.
And some heroes and some vehicles. The rule set is not super complicated, and they've just did a new edition, which I don't know anything about. And it's also kind of similar to the bolt action rule set to a little bit. So there's a little bit of crossover familiarity with a game that existed. And it's StarCraft, which is a juggernaut of IP. Like everybody knows Star Wars.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I got you.
My brain. Stars.
Okay.
Games with
Too
Star
many
in the title.
stars, yeah.
So it's a juggernaut brand that like everybody knows what Star Wars is, right? Everybody's seen a movie where a bunch of stormtroopers fight, something. And so that's a lot easier of a lift to get your friends that are fans. But there's also so many easier ways into the Star Wars side of the hobby. There's card games and
role playing.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. That you still have to get someone convinced if they want to play a game with a whole bunch of models and some complicated rules and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's probably a medium. I think it's medium weight for people who are interested, and a heavier lift for people that you're dragging a little bit more strongly toward it. Yeah.
All right. So if listeners want to learn any more about you, your career, and what you do now, where would they go to learn?
Everything and anything I do professionally appears on the Steve Jackson website, sjgames.com.
Okay, cool.
We have a daily blog. It's the longest running corporate blog in America. It's been going since the 90s, and we've never missed a day. And every once in a while, they're like, hey, we need some content. So I write about music I like, or I write about cool movies I've watched recently, or whatever. So every once in a while I pop up in there, and I'm at a bunch of cons for the company. So if you go by our booth at Gen Con or whatever, I'm going to go to Gamehole Con this year. So I'm at a booth at a big con, probably trying to demo Munchkin or something like that to you, which we just got a new edition, second edition Munchkin, first time, 25 years, first new edition, is launching at Gen Con. We did a successful crowdfund, and it's going to be at Gen Con for the first time. You can sell it or buy it as a random member of the public who didn't back it. So that's our big push, and we'll be at Gen Con showing that off as much as possible this year.
Cool. All right, Mike, do you got any questions for him?
Actually, yeah, I do. What would be the biggest piece of advice that you would give to somebody who has never, ever, ever played Munchkin before, but really wants to get into it?
So sadly, the best advice is to wait a couple of months. So the most interesting thing about second edition is that we looked at all of the complaints from 25 years. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest, it wasn't a giant complaint, but one of the biggest stumbling blocks was just starting the game. If I'm sitting down with a group of 4 people who have never played before, I have to explain a lot. I have to deal cards to them, and I have to explain what their cards mean.
Right.
In second edition Munchkin, we took that step out. Now you just get handed a couple of cards. They're face up on the table. They're very basic. And then you start playing. First player takes their turn, draws a card, does their turn. So before that, if you're not going to wait until August/September of this year, which I don't know when this is coming out, so maybe it's a very short wait, find a Munchkin set that's a brand you like. SpongeBob Munchkin exists, Critical Role. We've made Cthulhu and Pirates and Cowboys and whatever. If you like something a lot, if you're a big Cthulhu fan, find a copy of Cthulhu, Munchkin Cthulhu. All of them are core boxes and then expansions, and the core boxes are bigger. And they say, all the expansions say you can't play this without a core box. So find a set that you really like the theme of, and then play it as casually as possible. Don't worry about making mistakes. Read the rules before you play. Read the rules after you play. The game is so much about trying to kind of cheat a little bit. Being a rules lawyer and reading the card to mean what you want the card to mean and not what the card might necessarily mean, that kind of thing. There's a lot of flexibility, and you can make a lot of mistakes in the game and still play it and have fun and then kind of learn the rules more slowly over your first couple of games. So, but if you want the best experience, then August, September, Munchkin Second Edition, brand new core box.
All right.
Sounds good. All right.
The sound of that.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Well, I appreciate
thanks,
it.
Will.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here.
All right, listeners, we're back, and I hope you really enjoyed some of these interviews today.
Yes, indeed. As much as I did, at least.
We were so blown away today, folks, and I'm hoping that this is only the first con, and this podcast is not going anywhere, so this will definitely not be the last, right, Mike?
I mean, I would hope to say that this podcast is going to go somewhere.
I know. It's when I say not going anywhere, I mean it's not going to end anytime soon.
Okay.
I really
have a crucial point to make.
Right. But no, after, talking to some of these folks, I mean, I am inspired. And talking to Matt, his table was right next to ours during the festival, and I had lots of lengthy conversations, and I even won his book, his Guide to the Artificer book. And I can tell you folks, I'm going to do more writing, and I'm going to flesh out my D&D world more. And I'm so glad that I have you listeners out there to go along the ride with me. Even if it's just moral support, I'll take it.
I'm probably here to support you less than morally.
Less than morally. That's fair. All right, Mike, do you got a fun fact for the listeners before we wrap it up?
Sure do. Wombat poop is cube-shaped.
How did you find this out?
It's pretty basic when you read about wombats. It's one of the first things you find out. Also, just a bonus fact here. They have bone structures in their butts that they use to kill predators that try to get into their burrows.
In their butts, huh?
Yeah, they're their butt cheeks, specifically.
So they're kind of like buns of steel?
Buns of, bone, but yes.
All right, folks, on that note, you guys have a great night and stay tuned. Tomorrow is day 3. It'll be a shorter day, but I promise you after the long car ride home, I will most definitely get the interviews tomorrow posted. If you'd like, we are now live on Instagram, Arguing with Dragons. We are live on TikTok, Arguing with Dragons. Facebook.com/Arguing with Dragons. Follow us on any of these social medias.
All labeled Arguing with Dragons.
As best as I can get, folks. Everything's consistent. So search us up, like and follow us. Check out some of these interviews. We've been posting live videos the last 2 days. Mike and I just went up in the KC wheel a little bit ago with the wife and kid, and oh my gosh, it was a blast. There's just so much going on in our great country of America, and you don't even know it when you live in little Southeast Iowa. And meeting all these people. I mean, our buddy Matt next to us was from Dallas, Texas, and
yes, indeed,
he drove definitely several more hours than we did to get to the convention. And it's not even the biggest convention in Kansas City. There's 2 others that are twice as big or more. So, this is definitely something I think we're going to do more often, Mike.
I do agree with you. I think we should.
All right. Well, folks, you guys have a great night. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Yes, indeed, we will.